Cannot tell if I'm live or not. Oh, I think I am. Nice. Okay. Well, first time ever trying this on YouTube. So, I guess let's just go ahead and watch this video that I was going to watch anyway, and we'll see if anyone shows up.
Major breaking news here for you. It's official. Israel and the United States have now waged an illegal and offensive war against Iran. They are going for full regime change. This is not a little attack by any stretch of the imagination. I have a lot of stuff to get to here, so let's jump right in. And by the way, I warned you. I told you this was going to happen. I told you the negotiation.
Oh, and by the way, I'm still figuring all this out, but like if chats and stuff, I'm hoping that they show up on this like feed I got. If not, you know, there's always going to be some hiccups here, so okay, we'll keep watching.
Negotiations were a total ruse. Israel does not want peace. The U.S. does not want peace. They were faking negotiations in order to, lull them into a false sense of security to then attack them. That's exactly what they did. I told you that was what's going to happen, and I knew that not only because we were moving all this military stuff in the region, but because Trump has a history of doing exactly this. This is how he killed Qasem Soleimani, one of the top Iranian commanders who was fighting ISIS. He lured him with fake negotiations, then he murdered him in a terror attack. So here we are, except now they're going for full illegal and offensive regime change. I also told you, after the so-called 12-day war, that if you think this thing is over, I have a bridge to sell you. And yet again, that's exactly correct. I wish it wasn't. I wish I was wrong, but I'm not wrong. So let's go ahead and jump right in.
I wish you were wrong too, Kyle.
Right now. So the Associated Press says, breaking. Explosions heard in Tehran as Israel's defense minister confirms Israel has attacked Iran. So this is what Trump wanted. Trump wanted Israel to attack first, then Iran to counterattack, and then Trump gets to go, well, actually, technically it's defensive because we were attacked first. Again, even though Israel attacked first, they were our attack dog. It's all bullshit. It's all a game. It's all a con. It's all theater. We were always going to go in and back up Israel. That was the point. They
lie, cheat, and steal. That's the American way.
Here's something nobody's going to talk about. The President of the United States was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a honeypot blackmail operation. He was running a honeypot blackmail operation, and he worked with intelligence agencies all across the world, including Mossad. There's no doubt that the Israeli government has videos and pictures of Trump doing horrific things with underage girls. There's no doubt.
100%
And now
true.
Benjamin Netanyahu, how do we know he didn't blackmail Trump and hold it over his head, say, hey.
Well, to be fair, I think that I think this war was going to happen regardless. Like, I do 100% believe that the Netanyahu Israel Mossad has blackmail on Trump. Like, he definitely did that shit, but regardless, like, the Zionist forces in our country and the capitalist class were always, like, they've been building to this for like 50 years at this point. Like, I don't know. This was just kind of inevitable. It was just going to happen. So, like, I'm sure that having all the pictures of Trump or whatever, all the blackmail on Trump, just makes their job a little bit easier. But, like, I think that they were going to get their way regardless when it comes to this, because not only does it, like, has Israel wanted this for, like, ever, but, like, the capitalist class in America has wanted this for, decades as well. They want to destabilize it the same way they destabilized Libya. So, like, because then they can come in, swoop in, and make a shit ton of money off of the chaos, which they do every single time. So, I don't know. But let's see what else Kyle has to say.
Do this regime change or else, or these tapes come out. And by the way, the Iranians are saying if you do the attack, tapes will come out because they claim they have them. So we'll see if that's just a bluff or not. But when I look at this, man, it stinks to the high heavens.
Everyone has the tapes.
We have a blackmailed pedophile president. We do. And so now look at how
that's why we had to bomb him.
Okay, I got to keep going here because, like I said, I got a lot of stuff to
They have the tapes of me.
So here we have
with
one of the attacks onto Iran that landed. You can see smoke in the distance. Take a look at this.
I feel for the Iranian people right now.
And this is happening all across the Middle East, and we'll get to that as we move along here. But here's another video in Iran with smoke coming up because something was clearly attacked. Here we go. You can see it right there. This is a different one, by the way. I should point out, this is a different one that we're talking about. We're going to get to Qatar. We're going to get to Abu Dhabi. We're going to get to all the different ones because there's a lot of stuff that's under attack right now. Iran is not playing around. They're not sitting ducks. This isn't like the Venezuela operation. They're a much more formidable enemy, not only than Venezuela, but also compared to Iraq. Iran is a country of about 90 million people, and it's 4 times bigger than Iraq, and the government's been in existence since the 1970s. This is not easy.
And has a lot more
and of course,
military capabilities than Iraq.
Against the Constitution because Congress didn't approve this in any way, shape, or form. You got Thomas Massey out there saying it right now. Democrats should be screaming for impeachment. Screaming. Dropsite News says U.S. forces are carrying out dozens of strikes using aircraft from bases across the Middle East and from at least one aircraft carrier. Official told.
Democrats aren't going to do shit. Like, let's be real. They want this war just as much as all the neocons, Trump, all of them. Like the Dems, they're not going to save us. Like, so I don't know. I think the sooner people like understand that, like, I don't know whether this would have happened in the exact same way under a Kamala Harris presidency is kind of up in the air to me. Like I said, this has been a 50-year project across multiple administrations. So, to some extent, I think I think this is more spurred on by Israel's like they're seeing it as like a now or never sort of thing, right? So I think to some extent they might have forced the hand of America regardless, or it might have gone a little differently. Like Israel might have done the first strike by themselves or something, and then we waited for a retaliation before we got involved. Like, you know, it would have been dressed up a little differently. But I still kind of think all of this was going to happen, whether it was Kamala or Trump in the driver's seat. So, I don't know.
The New York Times, U.S. officials also expect the operation to be a significantly larger one than last June's American strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. U.S. officials confirms U.S. carrying out strikes against Iran, not solely an Israeli action, will not be a small operation. Now, by the way, what happened? You guys told us you destroyed their nuclear capabilities, and anybody who told you otherwise was spreading fake news. Now you're saying we got to do this to destroy their nuclear capabilities. Jesus Christ.
I got to think about this for a sec. What is this? Victory and pestilence bless you with victory to stun your enemies through. Does not work on players, only active. So that's all the same. So it doesn't matter which one I choose up here. Fire, war, the hunt, victory. Sure, we'll go with victory. Yeah.
All right, so now let's jump right into it, bro. Here is Donald Trump. I'm going to try to get through his full statement here. He does a late night speech. Because, by the way, the attack happened late night Eastern time, okay? But in Iran, it happened during the day, which is very bizarre. If you're actually trying to protect yourselves and get away with it, you would do it at night. But they chose to do it during the day in Iran, which again tells me they literally want the counterattack. Trump wants the counterattack. Trump wants American casualties so he can go out there and justify getting deeper involved in this war. It's very disturbing. It's very, very dark. But here we go. This is what he says.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime.
Literally everybody knows that's a lie. This is such nonsense. imminent threats from Iran. They're not going to attack us. There was no threats whatsoever. They were negotiating. They thought, hey, maybe we'll get a deal out of this. Their foreign minister was saying that on TV yesterday. Nobody buys this. Who is this for?
A vicious group of very hard, terrible people.
The guy who starts a new war every other week is calling somebody else vicious. That's rich.
Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Targeting the United States, our
Totally.
troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries.
Trump just bragged.
Dude, he's so funny. Dude, that's all the shit we're doing. Like, we're waging death and destruction campaigns all across the world. Like, I don't know. Like, it really escalated with Gaza, but it's just been, like, getting worse and worse. And it's just like, I don't know. We're the bad guys, it feels like. Like, we've definitely entered our villain arc as America. You know, we'll see if we can ever recover. I mean, the one good thing I feel like that we ever did was destroy the Nazis and, you know, World War II, or at least partake in that, you know, be on the right side on that, which was not a guarantee, by the way. A lot of people think we were always going to, like, be on the side of good. Like, we very much could have been on the side of bad. We were trying to stay out of it for the most part, until it became sort of inevitable once Japan attacked us. But, like, I don't know. We're definitely entering our villain arc right now.
About putting an Al-Qaeda leader as the head of Syria. I'm not kidding. He just bragged about putting an Al-Qaeda leader as the head of Syria. And he's saying Iran does terror attacks against it. You have got to be kidding me. By the way, you know why they chant death to America, right? Are you guys familiar with this? It's because we illegally and offensively overthrew their government in 1953 because they elected somebody named Mohammed Mossadegh who was going to nationalize their oil, which would screw Western oil corporations out of the profits from that.
We've been doing this for so long.
And we put a CIA puppet leader in control of the country, the Shah, and that's why they chant it. I don't know. If somebody illegally and offensively couped my government to steal my natural resources, I might say death to that country too.
Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of...
I mean, that's something that is so hard for Americans to, like, even, like, wrap their head around, of having another country come in and just constantly destabilize your country or all of the countries around you, essentially trying to keep you down to an extent, right? Like, that's kind of the United States' entire playbook is containment. Like, they view everything through the lens of containment. So any, you know, lower middle powers, global south countries, it's always destabilize, destroy, have your capitalist, you know, billionaire pedophile overlords come in and take as much money as they possibly can, as much resources as they can, you know, profit off of the rebuilding, you know, send in the contractors to just pilfer off as much money as they can from... Yeah, this has just been the strategy for decades at this point. And, you know, the one thing that we can hope for is that it won't happen for decades more, but, you know, trying to predict how long the collapse of the American empire is going to take is kind of a fool's errand.
Of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the...
He's literally bringing up 1983. Bro is so cooked. You think this is going to land with the American people? You think this is going to help you with your shitty approval rating?
Barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members.
By the way, the fact that he said they're probably involved with it means there's almost no chance they're involved with it.
In Iraq, the regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years.
Why did you put your country by our military bases? How dare you put your country by our military bases? All we did was encircle your country with our military bases and with giant missiles and guns. And man, you attacked poor little us. We weren't doing anything wrong.
As well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror. and we're not going to put up
Terror.
with it any longer.
It's been terror,
From
guys.
Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel.
Dude, I don't think this shit plays well at all anymore. I think that the American people largely, at this point, kind of understand why Hamas did what it did on October 7th, and especially like the 100 October 7th that Israel has done since then or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think that it's like I don't think that this plays very good anymore.
Slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our
They're all pawns,
citizens
dude.
hostage. It was brutal.
We're all pawns. Everybody's a pawn. Our military members are pawns. The Israelis who were on those settlements who got killed by Hamas were pawns. They're all pawns for the games of empire. It's, dear God, we live in hell.
Is he going to talk about the fact that you had, like, an October 7th, like, every other day in Gaza for the past couple years?
Hey, that's what I said.
Thing like the world has never seen before. Iran
Is
is
he
the
watching my
world's
stream?
#1 state sponsor of terror, and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon.
And they don't. They didn't. they never have.
Yeah, I do firmly believe that. Like, I think that the fatwa that Khamenei had set up, like, I believe that he, like, legitimately believed that. Like, he legitimately believed in, like, that it's a sin to, like, develop nuclear weapons, that nobody should have that sort of destructive powers or whatever. I think that his death now is going to lead to a much more hardline approach. If I were them, I'd say, get nukes today. Like, hey China, can you, like, just send over, like, just one little nuke, just send it over. We'll get it all set up, and then we'll be nuclear armed, and then finally America and Israel will have to stop fucking around with us, But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if the fatwa remains after Khamenei's death. I kind of have a feeling it's not going to, though. So
They said they don't want one. This literally this week, they said they don't want one. If I was advising them, I would say, you probably should get one.
Exactly.
Because if you had one, all of this would be avoided. They couldn't do this to you.
Look at North
if you had
Korea.
it.
They don't do
Look,
shit
Kim
to North
Jong-un
Korea.
has a nuke. They can't fuck with him. Libya, under Gaddafi, they gave up their weapons of mass destruction, and then he was toppled and sodomized with a bayonet. Okay? Saddam Hussein in Iraq, same thing. Didn't have weapons of mass destruction. Look what happened to him. It's almost like the message the world is getting is, I better get nukes ASAP. If I don't, I'm a sitting duck.
Every middle power, every
Say it
soft
again.
power,
They
or
can never
whatever,
have
middle,
a
lower
nuclear
power needs to
weapon.
get nukes as
It's
soon as
kind of
possible.
crazy. He's saying this. Meanwhile, he ripped up the JCPOA, the Obama-Iranian nuclear agreement. There's no debate around that. It just worked. It's just a fact. The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, says they verified over a dozen times that Iran was following it perfectly.
Well, it worked if your goal was to prevent them from getting a nuke. It didn't work if your goal was to find a reason to invade them and just do full Iraq regime change war again in the region. Like, I don't know. We're so cooked. The empire's dying. We're lashing out. Like, it's rough. It's rough.
And all we had to do was give them back their own money that we stole through sanctions. Literally, that's all we had to do. That's it. So, you're the reason there's no peace. You are the problem. You are the issue. You ripped up the agreement. You violated the agreement and ripped up the agreement. Now you have the nerve to smack them around and say, make a new agreement with me where I put even harsher terms on you. Are you kidding me? It's fucking absurd.
That is why, in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan.
But now we have to attack them again because of their nuclear program.
After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried, They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to
They
practice
didn't
evil.
know what was happening. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it.
I'm done, bro. I'm done. Oh my word. Who buys this? Bro, you're building the Fourth Reich, homie. You're building the Fourth Reich.
Yeah.
I mean, how many evil actions can you were threatening to steal
I
Greenland?
mean, it's a little
like
bit
last
different.
Week.
It's a little
Denmark
bit
is our
different
ally.
than
They
the Fourth
control
Reich,
Greenland. You're
but
threatening
it
to steal
is
it like
very
last
similar.
week. You're threatening to steal Panama.
It's when we start going like legit after Canada and Mexico, that's when I'll be ready to say, yeah, it's Fourth Reich time. But so far, it's all been kind of standard American Empire shit. We're just going after like bigger, more difficult people than we used to. So, like, if you compare Iran to like say Vietnam or Iraq or Afghanistan, it's like, 20, or I would say like, well, I guess it's like 4 times bigger than Iraq, right? But their military capabilities are so much more advanced that it's like, I don't know, the more, it's like the weaker we get as a country, the stronger the enemies we go after, and I think there's an inevitable downfall to that, but we'll see.
You're threatening to bomb Mexico, okay? You kidnapped the leader of Venezuela and started stealing their oil, and now you have hundreds of millions of dollars sitting in your own personal account overseas in Qatar. And the fact that he calls anybody else evil, bro, I am done.
Just as it has for decades and decades, they've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take
They literally
it
said it 100 times over.
to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles.
It's just lie,
that
cheat, and steal, the American way.
Very good friends and allies in Europe.
From the moment we were
troops
born as a
stationed
country,
overseas,
lie, cheat, and
and
steal.
could soon reach the American homeland.
Oh, he did it. He did the thing. He did the thing. Oh my God, he did the thing. They have the weapons of mass destruction. It could soon hit us. Who are you, Mark Levin? Are you Mark Levin? Is that who you are? Are you fucking Netanyahu?
Levin.
Like, this is the most pathetic propaganda I've ever seen in my life. Nobody in motherfucking Cleveland is sitting there going, you know what my biggest problem is? Iran. Like, no, the Islamic Revolution sure was fucked up in 1979, was it? What do you, like, oh God,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna crash out.
That's where I'm like, I don't
Just
think this
imagine
plays
how
well.
emboldened this regime
This
would
doesn't
be
play
if they
well
ever had
in middle
and actually were
America.
armed
As
with
someone who
nuclear
lives in middle
weapons as a
America.
means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our...
The guy who just said,
once.
we shouldn't even have elections anymore. Going, the wicked
yeah.
dictatorship. Homie, that's you! Look in the mirror.
core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces.
Yeah, they're
no
the ones
longer use
destabilizing the
their
region.
IEDs or roadside...
Not Israel, the country that has been bombing every single surrounding country, a seven-front war of choice that they have partaken in. Yeah, definitely Iran's the one destabilizing everything, for sure.
bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should
But I thought we
challenge
blew
the
them all
strength
up
and might
last
of the
time.
United States
How'd they get
Armed
it again?
Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication.
I mean,
My
that part's
administration
kind of
has
true.
taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel and...
That doesn't, by the way, mean, like, just because we have the strongest military in the world does not by any means mean we're going to win, quote unquote. Getting a strategic victory out of this will be, like, next to impossible. I think it'll just be a lot of death and destruction, and then it'll end up with probably more hardline factions in Iran taking control, and then I don't really know what's going to happen after that, but
the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties.
Oh, yeah.
That often happens in
Pawns. They're
That's 'cause of
pawns.
you, dog. Don't
They're
give me this
pawns.
bullshit. Everybody knows there would be 0 U.S.
That's what I'm saying.
casualties if you and Israel didn't start another illegal
All of our
offensive war
soldiers,
against a country
everybody,
that
they're
didn't
all
accept us.
pawns.
There would
All
be
the Iranians are
motherfucking 0
pawns.
casualties. This is
All-
Trump
Yeah.
sacrificing innocent Americans.
I'll say it again. They're all pawns to be used by the our pedophile billionaires at the top of our country who are, want to wage these wars and destabilize these countries to make out like bandits in the aftermath. Like, we know this. It was released in the Epstein files. Like, that's just the way that it is. Like, it's really up to America and Americans to start dreaming bigger about what they want from their fucking country. We gotta stop this shit. And it's not gonna happen through just like electoral means. Like, people need to start getting organized, especially around class and labor issues. Get ready for general strikes. Like, these things, the destabilizing things that we're doing now, they're just gonna keep getting worse as America's power starts to wane more and more. And unless we have some sort of organizations already built to fight back against the administration that will inevitably turn on us, whether it's this one or not, to prevent us from doing the worst excesses of our pedophile billionaire overlords, we're all gonna be fucked. So. I'm really hoping I get just like one viewer at some point, just one person. But we'll see. I really can't. I mean, I assume that there's nobody. Like, it says 0 viewers up here. One sec. I'm just gonna open up my stream real quick to make sure. One sec. Oh, yep, there I am. Okay, yeah, nobody's in there yet. I'm getting used to this whole Streamlabs thing. I'm assuming that the chats will show up if people come in here, but
To the blood gods of the military-industrial complex and the Israel lobby. That's what he's doing. I need you to understand that. That's what this is. And again, there was reporting he literally wants American troops to be killed in the Iranian counterattack after the Israeli first strike.
yeah.
So that he can go, well, now we have to go in and we have no...
Well, because, he's trying to avoid all of the work that has to be done if you want to set up a nice false flag. It's too much work, like, he wants to play some golf, he wants to hang around at Mar-a-Lago, like, he's getting older, right? Like, do you know how much time and effort it takes to plan a false flag operation? To have some American soldiers die at the hands of, like, the United States government or Israel without anybody finding out? Like, it takes a lot of effort, okay? And he just wants to avoid that. So, like, he's just trying to save time and money. So he's just saying, Iran, if you could just, like, please just kill a couple of our guys. Come on. If you could just kill a couple of our guys, then we can just save ourselves all this hassle of setting up a false flag operation. And then the American people will get pissed off and we can go invade you guys. It's like, oh God.
But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission.
Oh.
We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
Oh.
We ask God to protect all...
Motherfucker, you're the threat. You are the evil. You have ICE Gestapo's thugs shooting innocent Americans in the face and murdering them on a regular basis. You're building 23 concentration camps. And he has the nerve. Oh my God. I'm thinking of the old like Muhammad Ali line and updating it to, the Iran never did shit to me. The Iranians never did shit to me, right? Like, what do you say? No
Well, we'll
Vietnamese
finish
ever
this
called
Kyle
me the
video,
N-word.
or at least go a little
Like,
further.
like,
But I think I'll
Kool-Aid
probably,
is working on it, and that's
I
what
might
we
watch this
gotta calm down.
breakthrough
It's
news
working on
video
nowhere. That's what we need
afterwards.
to understand. It's working on
Check
nowhere.
out this.
There's like the Kool-Aid drinking death cult.
This is just my account or whatever, but the Owl City, that's a classic for any you know, old heads like there. Anybody who has a foot in the grave like me, like this is a classic album.
Cultists of MAGA, yes, they'll go for this. His approval rating with them, or the support for this move among them, it'll go from 50% to 95%, like that. But everybody else is gonzo. I'll make a prediction right now. His approval rating, at some point in the near future, is going to be in the 20s. You're going to have a major poll that has him at like 29%. Watch.
Our heroes in harm's way.
I mean,
And we
probably,
trust
but doesn't
with his
matter.
help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces,
Lay down
all
your
of the
arms.
police, I say tonight,
We
that you
promise.
must lay down your weapons.
I knew it. We promise we won't kill you. I swear, we promise, pinky promise, we will not kill you. We will not kill all of your men, women, and children. We promise, I swear, you can take us at our word.
And have complete immunity, or in the alternative, face certain death. So
He says that as the mission is ongoing, literally right now, to murder all of them. So that's a lie.
This is
This idea, like,
so
I'll
funny.
give you a way out. No, you're not. There's no way out. What are you talking about?
lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity.
This is
Yeah, if people wonder why, like, you know, this offer never works, like throughout history, it's like, I mean, just look at Gaza, right? Like, can you imagine if Hamas laid down their weapons, like what the fuck they would do to the Palestinian people? Like, dear God, it would be like, I don't know, like definitely like concentration camps, like all the same shit that Nazi Germany did. Like, yeah, never do it. Never give up your weapons. And get a nuke yesterday.
literally what they did with Hamas, right? Lay down your weapons and everything will be great. Meanwhile, like, as they're speaking, they're doing another carpet bombing raid where they're murdering women and children, right? Like, if they keep their weapons or give up their weapons, they're still going to do the genocide and the ethnic cleansing. It's been live streamed for fucking years straight.
Exactly.
We're not stupid. We weren't born yesterday. It's the same thing. You're doing the murdering of those people as you are giving this speech. Who are you kidding? You're not. One last chance as you fucking shoot the guy right in the face. This is bullshit.
Or you will face certain death. Finally, to the
that
great
was
proud
empty.
people of Iran,
Like-
I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished,
Jesus.
take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
He thinks we live in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, random people who aren't armed, like the local baker and the accountant, are gonna
Yeah.
storm the presidential palace and be like,
It's not gonna happen, dude. Like, I'm just saying, like, they thought this would happen last time too, during the 12-Day War, which I cringe every time I have to fucking say that name, but they thought that the Iranians would, like, rise up against their government then too. It didn't happen then. It's not gonna happen now. We love believing. I assume that they actually believe their own propaganda, the way, like, with the strategy that they're using, because, like, that's the only reason that I could possibly think that they're doing the things that they do. But, like, it's not gonna happen, man. Like, it's just not. I mean, maybe I'll eat my words later. Maybe we'll see the Iranian people rise up or whatever. Even so, if it's backed by America, it'll be surrounded by death and destruction, the likes of which will be significantly worse than what the Ayatollah did. But I don't know.
this is ours now. And they're going to write a constitution 7 years ago. Like, this is not how war works in the real world, you dipshit. You just emboldened every gangster, every criminal
I finally
in the
get to
country.
get rid of my Reshi
The people
wraps.
who have the muscle currently are the ones who have the power. Oh my God, bro.
For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to
Oh
do
God, this
tonight.
bit.
Now you have a president who's
begging
giving
us?
you what you want. So let's see how you respond.
Iranians were begging
America
us.
is back.
They were begging us. They said, that's cool. That's cool. It was filled to the brim with radical religious fanatics. All those 12-year-old girls. Yes. They were begging us to blow them all to smithereens.
See, there's the out. When everything falls apart, he's going, the Iranian people weren't ready. They didn't do the right thing. I did everything perfect. Like, he's already giving himself the outs, right? He's giving himself outs when this thing blows up.
With overwhelming strength and devastating force, now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close.
The thing that I don't understand, though, is I don't really see where this goes. From a U.S. perspective. Like, it feels like there's no strategy whatsoever. So I don't think the Iranians are going to have some popular revolution in the midst of being bombed. Like, I think that it will consolidate power around the IRGC probably. I think that it, like, so they said they were planning on doing this bombing campaign for 2 to 3 days. And it's like, okay, so then what, though? Like, if the things that you hope to happen don't come to fruition, then what? Like, do you just stop and pretend that you won like you did in the 12-Day War and then just go home? And I think one of Iran's biggest mistakes that they made after that 12-Day War was they allowed the United States to control the de-escalation. Like, I think that they should have, because what basically happened at the end of that war is that, like, we ran out of missile interceptors, right? So, like, if we kept going, then it would have caused exponentially more damage to Israel, right? Like, it would have started going up significantly after that point. So we said, okay, we need to pause this so that we can get some more interceptors. And then Iran accepted the ceasefire. And I think that that was one of their biggest mistakes. They should have, even if it wasn't for a much longer period of time, they should have said, no, we're not ready. We're not ready to de-escalate yet. They should have controlled the de-escalation, and they should have just kept it going for a few more days. Let that sort of exponential damage, like, hit Israel for just like a couple more days, and then said, okay, now we're ready to de-escalate. We'll do a ceasefire or whatever on our terms, like something along those lines. Because then you've shown them time and time again that, like, you're going to allow them to stop whenever you're going to allow the Americans to stop whenever they're done or whatever, and they won't keep facing consequences after that. I think that if they had done what I said, though, then they would have been a little bit more reticent to join the war, because they would have thought, well, we might not be able to control the de-escalation. So,
Close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America.
All right, shut the fuck up. He's got to be impeached. He's got to be impeached.
it's not going to happen.
Just impeach him. Hit him with the
I love
25th
you,
Amendment.
but it's not going to happen.
Do something. This is not acceptable. Okay, there's evidence he has early Alzheimer's. A fucking
Doesn't matter.
brain that's just leaking dementia is now making global war decisions.
That's my
which, by the
president.
way, could easily spark World War III. What he's done here could
I think-
easily spark.
yeah.
What could cascade into World War III. There's already going to be
It could already be in
issues.
it.
There's already going to be pain felt on the part of the American people that we haven't felt in all these other wars that we've done. Okay? This is just crazy to me that anybody could sit there and watch this happen and not do anything about it. By the way, we'll get to, there's protests already popping up. We'll talk about that later. But Democrats, any elected Democrats, for the love of God, they were so fucking chicken shit in the lead up to this. Chuck Schumer wanted this to happen. Hakeem Jeffries wanted this to happen. They blocked the Iran War Powers Resolution to try to stop Trump from doing this. But then they allowed it when they got word, hey, he's going to do the attack this weekend, so schedule the vote for after this
Exactly.
weekend. And then, hey, your hands are clean.
Exactly.
Bro. So now they get to vote no. It's like,
Yeah. No, exactly. They should have voted, like, first and foremost, like, let's start from the obvious. Whether they voted to stop the war or not would not have changed what Trump does. He does not give a shit. But we needed their names to be on record before this happened. I don't really know I think that now they will probably all vote against it as long as it doesn't pass, as long as there's enough Republicans to make sure that it doesn't pass. Because I don't think they want it to pass either. I don't think the Democrats want this war powers resolution to pass, but they also don't want to be on the record as having voted against it, right? So that's kind of the game that they'll be playing. So we'll see either no Democrats support it when they finally bring it up, or we'll see. Sorry, I should say that differently. We'll see either no Democrats. We'll see all the Democrats support the ending the war resolution or whatever. If there's enough Republicans that will block it from happening. If there are some Republican defections, then we'll probably see some Republican defections. I mean, that would potentially allow it to pass. Then I think we would see a few Democrats come out in order to just ensure that it doesn't pass, because at the end of the day, they also want Iran. They also wanted to go to war with Iran. There's never been a war that the Democrats haven't been giddy as hell to get into. So same with Republicans, of course. But yeah, foreign policy is just uniparty in this country.
Oh, no, I was against this all along. No, you weren't. For a fucking week, you dragged your feet. You didn't say shit. They were broadcasting that they wanted to attack Iran. You didn't say Dickie McGee's acts the whole time, because secretly, you wanted him to attack Iran. Because you guys are also bought by the Israel lobby. They need to fucking resign. Trump needs to not only fucking be impeached, but also locked up for
Kyle's
this
cortisol
shit,
levels are going through the roof right now, man.
You need to resign. Hakeem Jeffries is not a Democrat. Chuck Schumer is not a Democrat. Bro, 2% of Democratic voting base wanted this, and they represented that 2%. I can't. But like I said, we got a lot more to get to. This is what CNN is publishing even before the Ellisons come in. So as you all know, the Ellisons are now going to buy CNN if it doesn't get blocked by a lawsuit, which means right-wing Zionist hacks are now going to own every media outlet in the country. They're posting, timing of U.S. Israel attack on Iran bears symbolic meaning in Judaism? Okay, this is the most anti-Semitic shit I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god.
Are you trying to make anti-Semitism spike colossally? The argument...
Timing of U.S. Israel attack on Iran bears symbolic meaning in Judaism. Ahead of the upcoming Jewish holiday of Purim, worshippers read the specific... Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, I don't know. This is insanity. I guess all of our, billionaire, pedophile, elite capitalists, I guess they're all actual... I can't tell if they're all actually Christian Zionists who think that the world is going to end as soon as this happens or something, or if they're or if they think this will play well or something. I really have no idea. This is insanity. Anyway, Kyle, get back in your corner. He's in the corner of the corner.
You're making is hey, this illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us, yeah, that's all about Judaism. That's gonna make people go, well, fuck that then, right? Fuck that religion. That's what they're gonna do.
Also,
this is some anti-Semitic shit. And by the way, they literally mentioned Amalek in this article. Amalek is the shit you heard Netanyahu say to justify murdering all the men, women, and children and animals in Gaza. Okay? This is insane that they let this article run. This is insane. It's preposterous that they let this article run. All right, but I still have more for you. Tehran preparing for retaliation. The response will be crushing, said Iranian officials to Reuters. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Just in, Iran in total internet blackout with national connectivity at 4%. So they jammed up the whole internet before they did this. Breaking, Israel will target missile storage sites, production facilities, and launchers. While the U.S. will focus on the Iranian nuclear project.
That they shot must have had so many missiles.
To the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Council and Iranian government, according to a plan presented to Trump. This is what this guy used to say when he wasn't president. Look at this. Trump said in 2011, in order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran.
This is a classic. There's a video of this too, I think.
Barack Obama will attack Iran in order to get re-elected. 2013, I predicted President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. 2013 again. Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled.
I hope that wasn't
So
an
understand,
important
this
choice
is how
I
he
made.
thinks.
Whatever.
He's letting you know how he thinks.
Ooh,
He thinks,
a new
oh
ring?
shit, if your poll numbers are bad, just
Hey,
attack
Spurs.
Iran,
They're
and
exactly the
people will
same.
rally around the flag, and you'll become popular again.
There's
What
no
he doesn't
difference.
realize is that's
Hey,
not how it
Spurs.
works. Like, to do a war, it requires relentless propaganda. You have to build public support. You have to manufacture consent, as the phrase goes. And he didn't do that at all. He didn't do that even a little bit. And so here we are. His numbers are going to collapse even further. He looks like a colossal idiot because he is a colossal idiot. But now you know. Is this an attempt to distract in part from the Epstein files, for example? Fucking absolutely.
Sure,
Isn't it an
but they would
attempt
have
to
done it
distract
anyway.
from the economic calamity? Absolutely. And again, this is only going to make that worse too. This is only going to make that worse too. And by the way, the Epstein files aren't going away. And the reason they're not going away is because, like I said, Netanyahu has dirt on Trump from Epstein. Epstein worked with Mossad. That means they have a vault in Tel Aviv with pictures and videos of Trump with underage girls, okay? It's very possible
Probably.
that they held that over his head to say, you're going to do the full regime change here. We have a blackmailed pedophile president, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's bringing it up.
He's our big,
Oh
beautiful
my God,
president.
bro. Jesus Christ, dog. Holy shit. This one is from 2019. Not
That's
that
my
long ago.
president.
The United States has spent $8 trillion fighting and policing in the Middle East. Thousands of our great soldiers have died or been badly wounded. Millions of people have died on the other side. Going into the Middle East is the worst decision ever made. So now, I'm going to make it even harder. Now I'm going to go even further into the Middle East. Now I'm going to do even more war. Remember the video of him on the debate stage in 2016 talking about how the war in Iraq was a big fat mistake. It was a beauty, and it was a real beauty, and your brother made it, Jeb. Remember that? That's like how he got popular. But now here we are. Now here we are. He's worse than a neocon. He's a neocon, colonialist, imperialist. He's more of a warmonger than George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. Okay, Dropsite says, important. Hours before President Trump announced major combat operations to achieve regime change in Iran, Oman's foreign minister, the chief mediator in U.S.-Iran nuclear talks, told CBS a breakthrough deal could be reached tomorrow and warned that military action would derail it. Well, that's the thing, bro. They played you guys for fools. This is what Trump does. He lulls you into a false sense of security and pretends like, oh yeah, we're about to make that deal. This is going to be great. And then he fucking murders you. This is what he does because he's a charlatan.
Yeah,
He's a
I mean,
scumbag.
I don't think
He's a vile...
I don't think that they believed him though at this point. Like, maybe last time they kind of believed him that he was trying to reach a deal. I don't think they. That's why it was so fast to respond. They knew that this was going to happen soon.
Wretched cretin. Remember this one? The pro-peace ticket. I remember this. Do you guys remember how many segments
Bring
did I do
that
before the election
is best.
where I was fucking screaming at people, going, no, Trump is a massive warmonger. No, I was going through his whole record in his
So
first term, talking
devout
about all the
salesman.
hawkish actions he did, talking about, you know, the increase in the drone war, 432%, talking about the assassination of Qasem
There we
Soleimani,
go.
the attempt to do regime change in Venezuela and put in Juan Guaido, talking about him hiring every neocon, increasing the military budget every single year. I went through with a fine-tooth comb. Hey, we bombed Somalia, we stayed in Iraq, we stayed in Afghanistan. His first raid as military president, military raid as president, killed a young American girl. Okay? I gave all these, I said, he's a warmonger, look at his record. Fucking fell on deaf ears. All the right-wingers, even the right-wingers who like to think they're anti-war, right? They were like, nope, Kamala's gonna be worse. And it's like,
Yeah, okay. This is one thing that I actually get a little frustrated with Kyle's commentary on. I think he keeps wanting an admission of guilt or something from the people who got him elected or whatever, or like helped get him elected, like the podcast sphere and Rogan sphere and stuff. But Kamala made, like, and I do believe Kamala would have been better than Trump, obviously, but Kamala did not give any indication that she would in her campaign. Kamala did all this stuff that made it seem like she was going to be a warmonger. She said she wanted the most lethal military in the world. She palled around with Liz Cheney and like respected Dick Cheney and all this shit. Like she basically told everybody that she is not the peace president. She's not the peace candidate. So that, I mean, a lot of that falls on her as well. Like, in the Democratic Party in general. Yeah.
They were making fucking goofy ass memes like this, and I was telling him, you're wrong, you're fucking wrong. We're gonna get into a massive war if he gets back in there. He's gonna go nuts. And that's exactly what happened. The pro-peace ticket, my ass cheeks. Anybody who argued or thought Trump would be more anti-war than Kamala Harris should be tarred and feathered and launched into the motherfucking sun. They're calling it...
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously more pro-war than Kamala Harris or whatever. Like, but the problem, I still kind of disagree with this analysis that Kamala, like, I think that Israel was going to make this war happen in this administration, like, within this 4-year period, no matter what. They have been building towards war with Iran for 50 years. Like, one presidency is not going to make or break it. The macro, it's more about the macro factors of just Israel knows that it's now or never. Like, Israel feels backed into a corner. Like, they feel like they're never going to have as much support as they have to date from America. And they're right. They're 100% right. They will never have more support from America than they have today. And so I just think that they would have forced Kamala's hand too if she was in office. I think some of this stuff, especially when it comes to foreign policy, really honestly does not change that much between the candidates. And that'll probably piss off a lot of Democrats that I say that, but I truly don't think that I do think that this war would have happened if Kamala was president as well.
Operation Epic Fury. That's what they're calling it. Operation Epic Fury is the goofy ass, 4chan ass, unfuckable dweeb ass name that they've given to it. Like some loner
They're all
14-year-old white nationalist came up with the name. Jesus Christ. You've got to vote for Trump, guys. He's the peace candidate. The one guy who will stop World War III. And
they think they're so cool.
We got
like,
Tim Pool, we got Tucker Carlson, we got Dave Smith. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there, aren't there? There's a lot of these types out there, aren't there? Holy shit. Remember this one? Stephen Miller, 2024. 2024. To anyone still gullible enough to fall for scummy media hoaxes, Trump said warmongering neocons love sending your kids to die for wars they would never fight themselves. Liz Cheney is Kamala's top advisor.
Exactly.
Liz wants to invade the whole Middle East.
What did I say? What did I just say? What did I just say?
Peace. Unfucking believable. Dean Withers is right underneath here saying, hey man, you should probably delete this. It makes you look pretty fucking stupid. But that's the thing, Dean. Like, they were lying, and they knew they were lying. They don't care. They don't care. When you call them on it, when you show, hey, look at this, they go, who cares? I'm still in power. I got the guns.
I mean, that's
and by
true.
the way, their next act is going to be trying to steal the U.S. election. As Trump just ranted against this vicious dictatorship in Iran, he's creating his own dictatorship of his own in this country. That's what's happening. Ready for this one?
This is the video I was talking about.
This one, again, was during Obama's term. Listen to what he said here.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Yeah. As Onion Person says, just run this on TV every day. Yes, they should. Dropsite says, important, an Israeli defense official tells Reuters the operation had been planned for months in coordination with Washington, and the launch date was decided weeks ago.
Definitely.
As I told you, the negotiations were a ruse. They were never real. And everybody should have known that, because if you followed this thing from the beginning, we had a perfect peace agreement. It was done. It was over. Obama negotiated it. It was working perfectly. Trump violated it and ripped it up, and everything since then was just kayfabe and was a show because they wanted to do the illegal and offensive war to do regime change, okay? That's the bottom line. They want a puppet government in there, and they want somebody who's not going to have any power in the region to push back against Israel's ambitions to create a greater Israel and become a global superpower themselves. So just know, it's admitted. The IDF is now saying, yeah, of course, we were never going to fucking make a deal.
That's never going to happen.
Any of the propaganda, guys.
Israel is way too small. They're like, without us, they would be nothing. They're just an extension of us. Now, we are the greatest superpower in the world, so, like, you know, but probably not forever. I don't think that Israel will be able to exist in the same way that it has, like, in the future indefinitely. But I don't know. Maybe they could, but maybe they could. ally with other people in a multipolar world or something and still be able to maintain their apartheid. But I don't know. I really don't think that it's possible for them to do that indefinitely.
We know who the baddie is in this situation. It's not that tough to figure out. Breaking, Houthi movement announces the closure of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait in the Red Sea and warns that they will target U.S. and Israeli ships.
Classic.
And they're literally saying now, like, we're shutting down the entire Red Sea. The entire Red Sea is being shut down. And that will lead to an oil supply shock here in the U.S. There's already talks about they're trying to shut down the Strait of Hormuz also. That, again, that'll lead to massive economic issues here in the U.S. I'm telling you, global economic issues, actually. People are not ready to deal with that pain for this stupid fucking war. For this war that nobody wanted, except the Israel lobby. Okay? I'm telling you, man, they're playing with fucking fire. They're playing with fire. There's going to be a colossal groundswell against this, the likes of which we probably haven't seen in modern American history. I mean, there's going to be... People have not fully wrapped their minds around all of the unintended consequences as a direct result of this attack. Clash Report says, breaking, first week...
Be on the lookout, though. I'm telling you all right now. Be on the lookout for false flags. If there's ever going to be a time that they will do a false flag, it's going to be this. Like, it's going to be for this. Like, when people start becoming disenfranchised and, like, not wanting... like openly stating that they don't want this war, as opposed to like right now, a lot of the hogs are kind of like tentatively accepting it. They're like, well, I didn't want another war, but as long as it's fast and quick and whatever, like it doesn't drag on, then I guess whatever. Like if we get our results without having to lose a bunch of resources and troops, but like as soon as it starts dragging on, it'll become very unpopular even with his base. And at that point is when, you know, mark my words, there'll be some sort of like something that happens that'll be kind of like a little strange, you know. Like, how did that happen? How did they manage to get a drone all the way across the Atlantic Ocean or something, you know, like.
Of Iranian ballistic missiles launched towards Israel, 30 missiles reportedly fired. Support for attacking Iran. This was YouGov on February 23rd. Opposed 49. Support is only 27. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen a number of polls on this question. The high number I've ever seen is 28% supporting war with Iran. The low number is 5% supporting war with Iran. Trump just did that with literally no congressional approval, so it's totally illegal and unconstitutional. And
Congress, what's that?
No support from the people
Constitution?
whatsoever.
Never heard of it.
Stop and think about this. You think that's going to end well? Especially when we start seeing U.S. casualties, we're already seeing U.S. military bases getting wiped off the motherfucking map. Okay? So, like, you think, in what world does this end well? Where nobody wants this, you just did the attack, you had zero congressional approval, you didn't even make an argument as to why we have to do this. It's just incredible. This is amateur hour. Not only are they incredibly evil, they're also just stupid and incompetent. So here you have Mehdi Hassan pointing this out. This Noah Tishby lady, who, it says, 2 times New York Times best-selling author and former special envoy for combating anti-Semitism. Okay?
Okay.
She posted a video. I'm in a bomb shelter in Israel right now. Sirens just rang across the country as an attack with Iran appears to be imminent. Here we go.
Everyone, I'm in Israel.
Why are you choosing to be there?
The sirens and went down to the shelters.
Like, you're rich. Get the fuck out of there.
So, Mehdi Hassan says, they illegally bomb another country without any justification for the 2nd year running, and then they put out videos as if they're the innocent victims.
Yeah.
Beyond parody. That's exactly right. And prepare yourselves. You're going to see a lot of this. This cry-bully bullshit. Cry-bully bullshit. The UK Navy says significant military activity is happening at the Strait of Hormuz right now. Al Jazeera, breaking news. Breaking, Israel attacks southern Lebanon in near daily ceasefire
Hezbollah, where the fuck are you? Get your ass in gear.
Southern Lebanon at the moment.
Get your ass in gear.
The chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff was dismissed after warning Trump about the consequences of an attack on Iran. According to Reuters, after the warning from the head of the Pentagon's Joint Chiefs of Staff, Fred Katcher, to Trump about an attack on Iran leaked to the media, he was dismissed from his position, having served
I'll let it play though.
In it for just 3 months. Now, this one I have to say, I'm not sure this
Otherwise, I'll never
yet,
get through.
I couldn't find anything else on it, but I do know for sure that there were some people in the military in particular providing pushback, saying, I don't know if this is gonna go well. Like, this is not gonna happen. This is not gonna be like the Venezuela thing where you think we're in and out and that's it ski. Like, no, this is a very complex thing we're talking about here, and to actually fully achieve regime change is not a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. So, clearly, those voices did not win out, and Trump went with the Israel lobby and Netanyahu and the warmongers and the imperialists. So, just absolutely disturbing stuff. Lindsey Graham says the end of the largest state sponsor of terrorism is upon us. God bless President Trump, our military, and our allies in Israel. Freedom for the long-suffering Iranian people. This operation is necessary and long justified.
Well, actually,
I love that he's saying this is necessary and he wants freedom for the Iranian people. Hey, asshole, how about freedom for the American people? Aren't you supporting the ICE Gestapo thugs, the secret police, the paramilitary, rounding up innocent people,
what you
throwing them
got?
in concentration camps, sending them places where they get raped and tortured? Aren't you supporting that? Aren't you siding with the agency as they shoot Americans in the face? Aren't you siding with them as they don't even abide by the Constitution and don't use warrants? You want to talk about free somebody? Free the United States of America from your fucking fascism.
That's what I
that?
say. That's what I keep saying. I'm like, China, please invade us now. Like, please. Please, China, please. Save us. Liberate us. Please. I just want liberation. Just liberate us, China.
Christ, man. It's just so insane. The way that these people talk, the way they act. Netanyahu says, my brothers and sisters, citizens of Israel, just an hour ago, Israel and the United States embarked on an operation to remove the existential threat. Oh, please, you're the existential threat posed by the terrorist regime in Iran. I thank our great friend, President Donald Trump, for his historic leadership. For 47 years, the Ayatollah's regime had chanted death to Israel, death to America, and has spilled our blood, murdered many Americans, and massacred its own people. This murderous terrorist regime must not be allowed to arm itself with nuclear weapons that would enable it to threaten all of humanity. Oh my God, bro. Your nukes are the ones that, they have illegal nukes. They threaten humanity. You're the ones who threaten humanity. There's already been a number of stories. Jonathan Pollard, an Israeli spy, openly said we should threaten the U.S. with nukes if they don't do regime change for us in Iran. Okay? You're the psychopath. You guys just did a live stream genocide. You're going to wag your finger at anybody else.
What the heck?
God, bro. Our joint operation will create the conditions for the brave Iranian people to take their fate into their own hands. The time has come for all parts of the Iranian people, the Persians, Kurds, Azeris, Baloch, Awazis, to cast off the yoke of tyranny and bring freedom and peace-loving values to Iran. I call on you, citizens of Israel, to heed the instructions.
This is just Orwell shit, dude. We live in fucking 1984. Like, this is psychotic.
Israeli name, we will all be called upon to show patience.
The only thing you can do is laugh at it.
Patience. You know what that means, right? This shit's gonna last for a long-ass motherfucking time, bro. Together we will stand, together we will fight, and together we will ensure the eternity of Israel. Guys, these are absolute religious psychopaths. Can we just say it? They believe the most ridiculous things. This guy believes the illegal Israeli settlers who are stealing land from Palestinians in the West Bank on a daily basis, they can do that because God gave them that land. Okay? You heard Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee is saying, yeah, let Israel take the entire Middle East because in order for the rapture to come true and Jesus to come back on a winged horse, we need Israel to have all the territory. This is who's running the world. This is who's running the world. Warmongering psychopaths who are in a fucking cult. That's what this is. All right, here it is. At least 24 killed at a girls' elementary school in Iran by U.S. and Israeli strikes.
This one's sad.
Jesus Christ. At least 24 killed. When I first saw this, the number was lower, and the number has been steadily rising since then.
It's so sad. I can't watch this, sorry.
Jason Hickel says, bombing Iran in the middle of negotiations, while starving Cuba, while genociding Palestinians, while threatening to invade Greenland, the U.S. and Israel are the single greatest threat to humanity, and it's not even close. We are all forced to live in the nightmare they create.
Yep.
Guys, we are run by a bunch of pedophile billionaire sadists who are creating the Fourth Reich. At this point, I am very comfortable with the comparison to the Nazis.
Oh, yeah.
Pedophile billionaire sadists. That's what they are.
Well, like, again, the Nazis learned from watching us. like they learned it from us. How we treated black people, like Jim Crow, all that shit. It's widely regarded that Hitler based a lot of his policies off of America. And so like, it's really like we were the original Nazis before the Nazis, and then the Nazis came in. It was only by pure happenstance, and like I don't know, I would say potentially tactical misfire by Japan of attacking us that we got involved at all. But like, I really think that like we ideologically aligned a lot more with the Nazis than we did the USSR, which was fighting back against the Nazis. So, yeah.
Pedophile, billionaire, sadists, every single step of the way here. And I think, here's the thing though, I think people are waking up to that fact. They are waking up to the fact that these are like satanic,
The USSR
demonic
was around
people.
then, right?
Vice President J.D. Vance said, quote, "I think that we have to avoid overlearning the lessons of the past. Just because one president screwed up a military conflict doesn't mean we can never engage in military conflict again." Yeah, bro, that's the lesson of Iraq. The lesson of Iraq is, let's not be too anti-war. The lesson of wasting over $8 trillion in the Middle East. Let's not be too crazy with our anti-war perspective. Has there ever been another human being this vapid, this vacuous, this empty, this much of a husk of a human being who believed in absolutely nothing, more so than J.D. Vance? I genuinely don't think so. I think this is one of the most empty people in the fucking planet. Okay? Look at this one.
I mean,
so,
he just sold his soul for power. Like, that's the story of America.
And Stephen Miller went back
and like, in America, you have to sell your soul if you want power. Like, the epitome of that is Jeffrey Epstein. Like, if you do not sell your soul, then you will not attain power. Or at least, that's how it's historically been in America. You can attain some semblance of power with people power, like with significant amounts of people to make the oligarchs and the billionaires sweat enough to then influence them to give us something, right? Like with Social Security and Medicare after the Great Depression. But in general, if you want power in America, you have to sell your soul.
forth. Jenk said, "So I didn't hear your answer to the question. Will Trump help Israel with the war starting with Iran? Will he finance it? Will he use the U.S. military to help Israel fight that war? You can't say no because you know he's going to do everything Israel asks him to do. And when that happens, you'll pretend it was self-defense. You had to do it. Special ally. We have to show how tough we are, and you'll get us mired in a giant war in the Middle East. Just like Dick Cheney. And all along, you'll pretend you were against war as you do it endlessly." And Stephen Miller says, "Jenk, I don't know how I can be more clear. Trump will end and prevent war in the Middle East. He wants peace. Harris and her neocon cabinet want war, war, and more war. Will you lie, and do more lies? That's what you do. That's what you do, because there is no doubt Kamala Harris would not have done all this
It's
shit.
OP, dude.
There's
Lying's
no,
OP.
Even if you have criticisms of her on
And guess what? Guess what? Even after this, even after this Iran war situation that we're doing, no matter how terrible it is, all the same types of people, the next time it happens, will do the exact same thing again. They will pretend like they're against war until it happens, and then they will be pro-war all the way. Like, it will, we live in hell. I keep saying it. We live in hell. This is hell. It's a purgatory of our own making. We redo the same thing over and over again as we slowly descend into madness. Like,
you're on other issues, which I do. There's no fucking way she would have kidnapped or abducted Maduro in the middle of the night, stolen Venezuelan oil, and put hundreds of millions of dollars of their wealth in her own private bank account in Qatar. Wouldn't have happened. She wouldn't have murdered over 130 innocent fishermen in the Caribbean like Trump did. She wouldn't be saying, I'm going to fucking annex Panama, and I'm going to annex Greenland and steal it, and I'm going to bomb Mexico. And she wouldn't have bombed Nigeria, right? Like, let's stop with the false equivalence bullshit in the year 2026. Let's leave that in the past, okay? Because look at how brazenly, how blatantly, how overtly these sick sons of bitches lie to your face. Breaking: explosions in Jufair, Bahrain.
Ooh,
where
let's watch
US
some of the
Naval
fun
Base
stuff
and
now.
5th Fleet headquarters is located. Here we go. Look at this.
the retaliation. These are the ones I can get behind. These are the bomb strikes I can get behind.
Missile threat warning. Closet shelter immediately. Shelter in place. Missile threat warning. Closet shelter immediately. Shelter in place.
So, I can confirm they've definitely hit a bunch of U.S. bases already, okay? So, some people were debating what's happening here on Twitter, and one person said, like, well, hey, we had to
Each one of those bases are like billions of dollars, by the way, of our tax dollars.
attack Iran. They back terrorist organizations. Look at this. quote, they back terrorist organizations, and look at the picture. It's Trump with a literal Al-Qaeda leader who now we installed as the head of Syria. It's incredible that these people argue these things with a straight face. Breaking, satellite images show Ayatollah Khomeini's official residence completely destroyed. Completely destroyed. Now, was he in there? We don't know yet, right?
We don't know at this point.
I mean,
that he was.
they've expected, they knew this attack was coming, I think, for quite a while, as soon as the most recent military buildup started happening a couple weeks ago. And so they probably adjusted and made new plans. But we'll see. We'll see how good the internal intelligence was that outed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Council. But this is what they're doing. They're going for the whole thing. They're going for the whole regime change. By the way, the ultimate goal is to just make Iran a failed state. That's the goal.
Yeah,
exactly. They want Iran to be a failed state. Because then, like with Lebanon, they could just go in there and bomb it whenever the fuck they want. There's no defenses whatsoever. It's what's called balkanized. It's sectarian. So you have like warring clans from within the country, and they want death and they want destruction, and they want nothing to get in the way of them creating a greater Israel. Okay?
I'm done with Kyle. Let's watch this Hassan clip talking to Ro Khanna. I watched it a little bit while it was happening live. It pissed me off, so that's why I'm going to watch it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Ro Khanna is here. Welcome to the broadcast. I don't know where you're at right now. There's a lot of snow behind you, and I know you're not in San Francisco. Where are you at, Ro Khanna?
I was at Dartmouth doing a town hall. I was at Stanford last week on AI, and so Dartmouth also was key in developing AI. So we were doing a town hall with students, packed house on the Epstein class and AI. Of course, Iran came up a lot.
Yeah, I actually saw in one of your town halls, there were a bunch of constituents that you were addressing that tried to tell you, like, no, we have to do regime change in Iran, as a matter of fact, because the Iranian government has been incredibly repressive. Now, that is true. The Iranian government has been incredibly repressive in dealing with their own domestic affairs and in putting down any sort of, like, resistance movements. Having said that, however, your answer was pretty
there's nobody watching.
You talked about how American intervention is not going to help the Iranian
But it might go up on YouTube
and
later.
Unfortunately, only a couple short days after, we are now seeing that the American and Israeli response is not helping.
Nice. I'll probably go to the grocery store here in a little bit, but...
Did you yell at Salem earlier?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I've been talking a lot, though. I'm thinking I might try, like, clipping some of this stuff from the stream for my YouTube channel or something. But anyway, sorry about that. I'm going to go back to...
And I know you're not in San Francisco. Where are you at, Ro Khanna?
I was at Dartmouth doing a town hall. I was at Stanford last week on AI, and so Dartmouth also was key in developing AI. So we were doing the town hall with students, packed house on the Epstein class and AI. Of course, Iran came up a lot.
Yeah, I actually saw in one of your town halls, there were a bunch of constituents that you were addressing that tried to tell you, like, no, we have to do regime change in Iran, as a matter of fact, because the Iranian government has been incredibly repressive. Now, that is true. The Iranian government has been incredibly repressive in dealing with their own domestic affairs and in putting down any sort of, like, resistance movements. Having said that, however, your answer was pretty decent, where you talked about how American intervention is not going to help the Iranian population. And unfortunately, only a couple short days after, we are now seeing that the American and Israeli response is not helpful at all. Since that incident, America and Israel have been bombing Iran. Iran has been retaliating. Where are you at now on this issue?
Well, Thomas Massey and I are introducing the War Powers Resolution to stop.
And it never is. It's, if you ever hear that, it is never the case. There is never an altruistic reason.
Up this war. I mean, the reality is it's not just unconstitutional. It hasn't worked. It didn't work when we went after Gaddafi. It led to 6 years of civil war in Libya. And people say, oh, Ro, is it a partisan thing against Donald Trump? No, I just told you something that President Obama did, who I admire in many ways, that I disagreed with. This didn't work when we took out Saddam Hussein. The taking out the leader is the easier part. I mean, the hard part is what comes next. And a lot of times...
You might ask yourself, why? Why does it never work? Why do we keep doing it if it never works? And it's because it's just because it does work, in a sense. It works for It works for the elites. It works for the capital owning class. They get to, beat the shit out of these countries, and then they come in and they buy everything they can. Like once they allow the American, capitalists into their country, afterwards they come in and they buy everything at bargain bin prices, and then they, get all these military contracts that they can go in and, skim all the money off the top like they always do. So yeah, it does work. It does work. It just doesn't work for the vast majority of people. It works for the billionaires.
Times the people within the regime look at what the United States did, and they use that to whip up angry nationalism, and it leads to more killing and a worse outcome. So you have now a president again who promised to end these wars, to not get us into a regime change war, breaking his promise, spending billions of our dollars on aircraft carriers there, on strikes there, putting our troops at risk, and we don't know what's going to come next.
Yeah, and there's no day after plan, and that much is obviously clear. So I want to ask you very directly, do you believe that getting Congress to vote for the War Powers Act will actually stop this administration, or do you feel as though this administration is going to continue doing whatever it wants to do regardless?
That's a high bar, because we've got to not only pass it, but the president's got to sign it, or we've got to have the votes to overturn his veto. Now, when Bernie...
Well, also just like it's already illegal. Like whether they pass this or not, it's not like he gets to just break the law and it's up to Congress to come in after the fact and be like, we're going to sign a law that says you can't break the law. Like, that's not how it works. Like, it's already illegal. They can just, charge him with a crime or, throw him in prison for breaking the law. But they're not going to do that. They're going to, this is the kind of, I don't know, symbolic sort of shit. The manufactured incompetence of the Democratic Party of, they're pretending like they actually care to stop this or whatever, but they don't care enough, obviously.
Bernie Sanders and I passed the War Powers Act to help stop the war in Yemen. President Trump, in his first term, vetoed it, but he voluntarily suspended the refueling of Saudi planes. And by the way, Thomas Massey was involved in that as well. But that was the only time that the War Powers resolution has ever passed the House or the Senate, when Bernie and I did it. And we did manage to get the war of Yemen to stop, not by force, but by the public pressure. So I believe in this case, the public pressure can matter, especially if we can get more than Massey. If we can get Walt Davidson and a few other Republicans to come vote with us, it matters. And at the very least, we need a unified Democratic Party. And it can't just be this procedural gibberish. Yes, we need to come to Congress, and there is a constitutional right. But we also need to say we are against dumb wars. We're against endless wars in the Middle East on the substance. We are not for taking unilateral action and engaged in these wars. Of course, the Iranian regime is brutal, and they killed their own citizens, and there was repression, and there's no denying that. But this is not the way to solve the humanitarian matter. We should have had an international coalition with targeted sanctions against the regime. We should have negotiated with China, which currently is providing cover for the regime. Why wasn't this part of the bilateral negotiations with China to get to be tougher on the sanctions with Iran? We should have taken it to the UN Security Council. We did none of the hard work of diplomacy. Cover for the regime. Why wasn't this part of the bilateral negotiations?
Okay. Yeah, this is the stuff that pisses me off. Who cares if China is supporting Iran or supporting them through the blockade of our, I don't know, human rights destroying sanctions? That's completely irrelevant right now. We're the ones attacking them. We don't need to bring up this shit. Bad messaging.
Negotiations with China to get to be tougher on the sanctions with Iran. We should have taken it to the UN Security Council.
One more sanction and it'll work, I swear. Just one more sanction.
The question I have for you is also the weight of this responsibility that falls on the opposition party, the Democratic Party. When you announced that you and Thomas Massey were going to work to put together the War Powers resolution, we were already at the heat of the escalation of the Armada moving in the direction of Iran, and it's now been 12 days after Trump openly postured about attacking Iran. Do you feel as though there were some setbacks internally within the Democratic Party as well, that this war powers resolution could have been implemented faster, or at least taken on faster?
It could have, but it wasn't leadership. It was the cracks in our own coalition when Josh Gottheimer and Markovitz came out with a statement saying that the Massey Khana bill was the Protect Ayatollah Khomeini Act. That created division where we felt, okay, are we going to lose 20 to...
Oh my God, dude. The Democrats suck. Jesus.
30 Democrats in the vote, which would have been an incredible signal of...
They should have gone through with it anyway. We needed those names, those 30 names. Like, we're never going to get those names now. So
weakness, and so we regrouped, and it was a short work week. Johnson cut some of the days, and then we now got 3 days ago or mid last week the consensus. So now I think the defections would be minimal, but we still need a very strong Democratic vote next week.
Where do you think these defections are coming from, especially considering that the recent Gallup poll data shows?
Trust me, there will always be exactly as many defections as there needs to be to not pass the bill. Like, it's not going to get passed. There will be just enough defections to not pass it.
For the first time ever, that the plurality of Americans are actually sympathetic to Palestinians over the Israelis. And this is not even just about Israel-Palestine, of course, even though it's obvious that this is Israel's design, Israel's ambition in the region for quite a long time now. Where do you think these defections are actually coming from? Because there's clearly not a lot of Democratic appetite in the base of the party, let alone the base of every party at this point. Independents are majority not in favor of going to war with Iran. By large majorities, Americans are not in favor of going to war with Iran at all. I believe right before the strikes happened, 27% only across the board, with, you know, even the Republicans barely meeting 60% support for striking Iran. So where are our politicians, some in your party as well, and plenty in the Republican Party, with the exception of Thomas Massey and maybe a couple others, where are they getting their notes from?
Well, they're the normal neocon pro-war groups. I mean, some of the think tanks, they've wanted a war with Iran, of regime change for decades. People like Lindsey Graham and others affiliated.
Yeah, but where do those come from?
Of course, it's no secret. I mean, AIPAC has been public saying that they support the strikes, and they've been making the case to members. There are other groups like that that are will paint members as weak on national security or protecting the terrorists if they don't vote. And then, like you mentioned, I was protested. I had 200 or so people shout at me in my own town hall, and that was the Iranian American community that was very pro-war and pro-us getting involved in the Middle East.
The YouGov poll from 228 asked if the Americans approve of the U.S. attacks on Iran on Saturday, and 44% said they disapprove, and only 34% said they approve, and 22% said that they were.
Dude, Democrats love, like, when someone comes and actually protests, or like protests for the position, or the position they actually want, right? Like, they want to be pro-war with Iran, so they just, like, when an Iranian expat comes up and is like, oh, I am so happy that you guys are going to war with the Ayatollah for me as a U.S. citizen, like, who used to live in Iran. They, like, yeah, every Iranian deserves it or whatever. Like, the Democrats will always place outsized influence on those people protesting, and never as much influence on the the people who are actually against the war.
We're not sure. With the Democratic Party, 70% disapproved and only 10% approved. With the Republican Party, it was 69% approval, 12%
Ooh, if you wanted, you could put me on in the background, muted or something.
I suppose.
Because you can hear me in person. You don't need to listen to me.
You can post in our Discord if you ever want anyone.
Not yet. I'm still figuring out how I want to do it before I get people I know watching that.
Disapproval, and amongst the independents, it was again a majority disapproval at 52%. There is no popular appetite for this, even after Donald Trump has conducted these strikes, even down to the Republican Party, where it's only a 69% approval rating, which is fairly low for actions taken by the Trump administration as adjusted to past performance for, you know, whatever domestic or foreign policy affair Trump engages in. So what will it take for our representatives to actually represent the democratic interests of the majority, overwhelming majorities, in your opinion? What can we do as American citizens?
We need the most strong mobilization right now on the Kana Massey War Powers resolution, you know, just flooding every Democratic leader, every Democratic member of Congress,
How do I get a link? Get shareable link. See if you can go there. Okay.
Well, your username is just Clay.
Gotcha. Okay.
Democratic senator saying, well, how do we get a unanimous vote? We got to flip Gottheimer. We got to flip Markowitz on this. We got to say this is a time you stand with the Democratic Party in unison, and you stand against a president who's gone to an illegal war that could have repercussions like the Iraq War. It's as consequential a
I want to
vote.
keep the cat but
all of your listeners
and
have got
not
a
have
huge
you.
base. If they can just help get an enormous social media movement that we should become the anti-war party. Look, Donald Trump took that and lied about it, that slogan from us. He said, I'm going to be the pro-peace candidate. I'm going to be the anti-war candidate in 2024.
The kiddies.
We have got to be the anti-war party. We've got to say that what Trump did in Venezuela was illegal and wrong. What he's doing in Iran is illegal and wrong, and not mince words. You know, some of these Democratic statements, I'm not going to say which ones because I don't want to pick a fight with my own party, but some of these statements, you read it and I don't know what they're saying. It's a bunch of, you know, I have to get to paragraph 6 to understand, well, are they against it? Are they for it? I mean, it's such a long prelude. I'm thinking, okay, are they for...
This is what they do, though. They have to twist their message into so as not to anger their donors. Like, their donors want this to happen, but they are they're the opposition party, so they have to at least pretend like they don't want this to happen. And so so that's why they have to twist themselves into knots with bad messaging.
Going to come out with a Fetterman, I'm for the strikes, and then they're like, no, it's illegal. So just say we're against endless wars, we're against intervention in these cases, we're against spending people's money on these wars, where we know from experience from Libya, from Iraq, from what happened in 20 years in Afghanistan, that they don't work.
Do you feel like offering justifications to why?
Like I said, they don't work for us, the people. They do work for the billionaires.
There is a necessity for regime change, while simultaneously talking about the process in which this regime change is taking place is actually a failure in the response within the Democratic Party for those who choose to speak on this issue on such terms.
I think it should start with the war in Iran is wrong, that we should not be getting involved in another Middle East war, that we should not be spending billions of dollars on this and our aircraft carriers there, that it can foment an ugly Iranian nationalism that could make the situation worse, that it could foment civil war and sectarian violence that could lead to more people being killed. And in that, one can then say that we understand that the Iranian regime is a brutal regime that is killing its own people, and that we call for human rights and we call for the Iranian regime to be sanctioned for what they're doing, to build an international coalition for what against what they're doing, and then we call for the recognition of human rights in these places. And
just one more sanction. If we sanction them just a little bit harder, then they'll have complete and total freedom and autonomy. I swear it'll happen. Same with Cuba. As soon as we just one more sanction, and then the people will have their freedom.
For that as an international community, I don't think that what we should be doing is openly calling for regime change with the assumption that the United States.
See, he's complaining about the bad messaging of his fellow Democrats while he just also engages in bad messaging. Like, the sanctions and shit, that's completely irrelevant. And also, we should have a, come to Jesus moment about how that's also terrible for the people of Iran, but that's never going to happen. So, like, I don't know. It's just all a little hypocritical. This kind of stuff. Ro Khanna, he's real good on some stuff. The Epstein stuff, he did a really good job, but I think that he has the same bad foreign policy ideas that everybody in the Democratic establishment has.
States' military
and Republican establishment
is going to help facilitate that.
That goes without saying.
So you're saying as long as the wording is flipped on and the weight is adjusted in the direction of no war with Iran, but then talking about the Iranian administration's repressive nature is
pointless to this
probably a
conversation.
better alternative. The reason why I'm asking this question is because clearly when these kinds of statements come out, right in the aftermath of the Israeli-American joint strikes on Iran, taking the lives of 200 people, and according to on-the-ground reports so far, there have been not one but 2 schools that have been potentially targeted and hit with our missiles, very likely, where there are a lot of young schoolgirls that were slain, up to 51 in the last reports that I saw, and the numbers actually may rise, with the total casualty numbers being 80 to 90. I think that the reality of the matter is American bombs are not going to cause liberation for the Iranian population. As a matter of fact, especially considering there's no day after plan, even if there was a day after plan, it still wouldn't cause true sovereignty for the Iranian population. How do you feel about the ways in which Donald Trump is trying to create a mission accomplished banner here by talking about the Ayatollah being potentially killed? Do you feel like this is going to be a battle to fight on the communication side?
Well, we need to see what the reporting is. I've seen the same social media reports that you have, that the Ayatollah may have been killed, and obviously he's a terrible actor. Yeah. But the question is, what comes next? I mean,
the Ayatollah was the one thing keeping Iran from getting a nuke. So even by their own metrics, this is going to be a failure.
Just going to replace him? I mean, it's not clear that just because he's killed, that suddenly that means that there's going to be democratic governance with human rights. I mean, you could still have the IRGC, just replace him with someone else. He was aging and frail and likely to pass anyway over the next year.
Exactly.
So I think what is important is to see what the facts are and understand that just killing people is the easier part. But the much harder part is building a government that respects human rights and democracy, and that making sure that the country doesn't descend into civil war. It's also about not setting a precedent for Putin or Xi Jinping or other great powers that if they want, they can just go in and assassinate other country leaders if they disagree with the regime.
I hope that since I'm on the left side of the screen, I'm more left than Hassan, so maybe that makes me a little bit hotter.
Well, with Putin, he has done similar things in the past as well, but I don't necessarily think that the hypocrisy argument is our strongest one, but that's my own personal perspective here. The thing that I wanted to, before I let you go, and I thank you so much for coming on, one of the questions I have here is about where we go from here. Like where we go from here. What's your assessment on what the retaliation is looking like so far, what the retaliation is going to bring about? Because it does seem like this is going to be an extended conflict.
Well, first of all, I'm hopeful that it is not extended. I'm hopeful that we can extricate ourselves. I'm hopeful that our service members aren't going to get killed. I'm hopeful that we're not going to have killings of young girls in Iran. Again, I haven't been able to confirm that, but I've seen the same report.
The way that I see it going is one of two things. I don't really think Trump is going to commit to boots on the ground. I think he's just too scared of being the next George W. Bush or whatever. So what I think is more likely to happen is that he's going to decide at some arbitrary point that we won, we accomplished everything, similar to what he did last time with the 12-day war, and then stop the bombings. And like I said before, I think that Iran needs to control the de-escalation this time. When they say, okay, it's over, we're done, I think Iran should just be like, actually, no, it's not. We're going to keep going until we say it's done. Because I think they're going to try to stop around the same time that they start running out of missiles interceptors again, which is what happened last time. And so if Iran just says, no, we're going to keep going for a few more days or something, and the missiles start getting through like exponentially more, I think that, like, especially hitting Israel exponentially harder for a few days, and then they say, okay, actually, yeah, we're done. It's time to stop. We'll agree to the ceasefire now or something. I think that'll really do a lot for any, like I have a feeling we're going to keep doing this over and over again until, like, Iran is just a complete failed state. Like, so they need to show that they're willing to be the ones to control the de-escalation as opposed to just letting America say it's over whenever they want to say it's over, you know?
Reports on social media, as you have, of this horrific sense of young girls being killed in schools, and I will find out, but we need it to stop, and we need to have some sense of statesmanship and diplomacy now take over. And that's why I'm hoping, that's why I rearranged my schedule to come on, because you reach a lot of people, and this vote is going to be one of the most critical historic votes in their country's history. I mean, people are talking about the Epstein vote, and that was important, very important for survivors and justice and elite impunity. But this vote may even have deeper consequences, which Massey and I are bringing, which is that a clear no to getting into another war in the Middle East. I mean, that's really...
He needs to connect the two as well. He needs to connect the Epstein and, you know, Mossad ties and the billionaire interest in the region and all that stuff. He needs to do a better job at connecting the through line between those two things.
What's at stake? And so my hope is that we will see anti-war mobilization around the country, that we can get a decisive vote on this, and that we can stop us from putting in ground troops, stop us from having forces there that are going to be in a drawn-out fight with the regime,
or at least create a legal structure to later down the line have punishments if necessary.
Yes,
if the Democrats actually do win the majority come midterm elections and drop articles of impeachment potentially. One thing I will ask is, you were able to create a successful popular mobilization around the release of the Epstein files, and clearly this was something that Donald Trump ran on personally. You were able to take advantage of the base of support, the Republican side of the conversation, also wanting transparency around who was actually financially involved with Jeffrey Epstein, who was actually potentially a co-conspirator. And this is the reason why that public pressure caused even Donald Trump to sign into law, something that he's currently not following through on. Having said that, who are some of the more malleable colleagues that you have in Congress on the other side of the political spectrum across the aisle that could actually receive a little bit of pressure to help people like ourselves potentially whip votes, because it's very clear that, you know, Mike Johnson is going to be a hurdle in that endeavor?
Well, I think Representative Davidson is a key vote. Representative Bacon is a key vote. Representative Brian Fitzpatrick is a key vote here. Someone like Andy Briggs is a persuadable person. Representative Gosar has opposed military interventions. And then on our side, of course, you know, you've got to get Moskowitz, you've got to get Gottheimer, you've got to get Lauren Gillen, and we need a strong statement from...
We got to get that, you know.
all of the party leaders that we are not going to be for another Middle East war. And so to the extent that people are mobilizing online for strong statements in support of Massey and my bill, that will help. I mean, you know, we've seen it from some people. AOC issued a very strong statement saying no war, support Conor Massey's bill. She's going to do it. We need other clear, decisive statements. Of course, you know, Pramila Jayapal and Mark Pocan, and, you know, there have been a number of people in the Progressive Caucus, Greg Kazar, who have, but we need as many of those as possible.
Yeah, last question I have for you is, you talked about potentially pressuring the Iranian government in order to bring about democracy in Iran. There was an alternative means that previous administrations utilized, one that you actually brought up yourself. Barack Obama's administration was able to successfully facilitate the JCPOA if the nuclearization was a major problem, which I don't think it is. Isn't there an alternative as far as the utilization of sanctions and the ease of sanctions in order to get assured?
This is where the problem lies, is that America never cared about that. They, like, if they just didn't want Iran to have a nuke, well, all they had to do is just sit back and not do anything, because Iran didn't want a nuke. Like, so, it wasn't ever really about them having a nuke. It was more about like removing their sovereignty, like making sure that they follow along with everything that America wants. And so that's why we got out of the deal, and that's why they're not going to create another deal, because otherwise, how are we going to use that as an excuse if the nuclear inspectors are going in constantly saying that they don't have a nuke? Well, then how are we going to pretend like they have a nuke so that we can go to war with them? Like, we got to get out of that deal, because we can't have those inspectors going in there and saying, oh, actually, they don't have a nuke. Like, we need to pretend like they do if we're going to go to war with them. So,
assurances. And do you believe sincerely that this conversation, these negotiations were actually about these conversations that were taking place between the Trump administration and Iran, with a lot of Israeli intervention and influence as well, were truly about denuclearizing Iran, ensuring that they only have, civilian-grade enriched uranium? Or do you believe that that was just a casus belli to create an opportunity to strike Iran, to destabilize Iran?
I believe that there were people who were negotiating, thinking they really were going to solve the nuclear issue, but the Omanis who were mediating said that they were close to a deal, that they were making progress. And yet Donald Trump got in his ear about a regime change, and he's gone at it from a regime change, as is evidence, if you believe the reporting about the Ayatollah, that there's allegations and evidence that he made the first strike may have been on one of the first strikes would have been on the Ayatollah. So obviously their mission was a regime change and not just the nuclear deal. I supported the JCPOA.
Wow.
The
What was
Omanis
that?
were saying that the United States could have gotten a better deal than even the JCPOA. We could have.
Yeah, he's a big old boy. Pep is a big old boy. He's right next to our midnight super, or like the bonus material stuff we got for the WoW expansion. I wonder if there's a way to zoom in on something while I'm in here. I don't know, maybe not. I'll have to look into that afterwards. I want to be able to like zoom in on my cat when it's on the when he shows up. Well, let's see. I guess this video is about over. I need to go to the grocery store and get some stuff, so I'm probably gonna call it. I had one person show up, and it was my wife. So, but maybe I can clip some stuff and throw it on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna try and start doing this more, just for funsies and to be able to, express my politics thoughts out loud instead of just muttering them to myself under my breath. Maybe someone will get some use out of them. And also to play some fun video games. If I treat the gaming portion of this as like that Zoomer you can't just listen to somebody talk about politics. You need something going on in the background, and so that's what the games are actually for. It's to keep all you young Zoomers entertained while I talk about politics and the state of the world. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna go.